Let's finish off the chapter by looking at encryption, which is both secret as well as has integrity. So authenticated encryption, authenticated encryption, as in it has secrecy as well as integrity plus integrity. Right. So, how do we achieve both? How do we achieve both? Well, um, and what sort of what is the standard that we want for both? So, to achieve both, we need some sort of standard that says, "Oh, this is what I mean by secrecy, and this is what I mean by integrity." So, secrecy notion we are going to use secrecy notion is actually going to be CCA security rather than just CPA. We are going for CCA, and for integrity, we are going to look for unforgeability. Unforgeability. Okay, what does that mean? It means adversaries cannot generate ciphertext that decrypt to previously unencrypted message. Adversaries cannot generate new ciphertexts that decrypt to, well, previously unencrypted message. Let's see. Or, right. So this is the combination of both CCA security and unforgeability that we are looking for, right? And what is the idea? How do you do it? Well, well, the easy way would be to combine an encryption scheme and a back, right? Generally, combine an encryption scheme and a Mac, right? That would be the easy way, especially useful if both of these are available in some way. So useful when these are already available in some library. Okay. Or you can create a new system which will do both. Okay. But that is slightly that is slightly harder. Okay. So for now, our goal is going to be the combination scheme should be an authentic. The combination should be an. If we want to combine an encryption scheme and a MAC, so that we get an authenticated encryption scheme, which can work with any CPA secure encryption and any secure MAC. Okay, so some way to combine these two. the combination should be an authenticated encryption scheme when instantiated with any CPA secure encryption, not CCA. We don't need that for now. You'll see why. Scheme and any secure MAC. Okay, so what are these constructions? What constructions can we think of? What are the standard constructions that we can think of? Well, generic constructions. There are three possible methods that we can do, which is first is encrypt and authenticate, or encrypt and authenticate. So you're sending two things. You're encrypting the message and you're authenticating the message. Okay, and sending both the ciphertext and the tag for the message T. Well, or you can authenticate, then encrypt, right? Or third, you can encrypt, then authenticate. Right? So in terms of image, what is going on? In the first scheme, you have the user 1, U1, who has two keys, K1, K2. Okay. He wants to send a message M to another user, U2, who also has access to the keys K1, K2. How does this proceed? Well, you encrypt the message with key 1, create tag with key 2, and you send the ciphertext C, T. Encryption K1 of C is your message M. Sorry about that. And the verify does with K2. It checks whether the message does decrypt, validate with the tag T. So what are the problems with this? Problems? First, the tag T might leak information about message M. Tag T might leak information about message M. Okay. And how? So in general, your Mac has no security. So Mac might not be hiding your message in any way. Mac has no notion of secrecy, so it might not hide any information of him. Okay? So, in the worst case, the combination might not even be EAV secure. The combination might not be EAV secure. Okay, suppose you did manage to get a Mac which does some good way of hiding. Okay? However, if the Mac is deterministic, as we saw for the CBC Mac, as is CBC Mac, then the tag leaks whether the same message is encrypted twice. Then tag leaks if the same message is encrypted twice. So combination is not CPA secure, right? So this method is terrible. Let's look at the next method. Second, authenticate then encrypt. Authenticate then encrypt. How does that work? You again have your user with K1, K2 keys and a message M. What they're doing now is they're saying first calculate Mac K2 of M, that is some tag, and now you use ciphertext not on just the message but also the tag. Okay. User 1, user 2, who again has access to K1 and K2, they first get this is equal to decryption K1 of C, right? And then verify if verify with K2 if M comma T is equal to 1. Okay, what are the problems with this construction? Well, the way I have constructed it in this case, especially, the padding oracle attack still works. Padding oracle attack still works. Okay. If it is possible to distinguish padding failure from Mac failure, if possible, distinguish wish padding failure from Mac failure. Okay. There are other counterattacks also that are still possible. They're in the book. So other counter examples are also possible. Okay. And there's no guarantee. So because of all these things, there's no guarantee that what we have is CCA secure. The combination may not be CCA secure. After all, my encryption is only CPA secure. It's not CCA secure that I'm taking. Okay. So finally, let's try encrypt then authenticate. Encrypt then authenticate. Okay. How does this work? Again, have your user you want with K1, K2. Any message M gets sent as C is encryption of K1 M. Okay. Then you verify the tag of MAC K2 of C rather than M. And then you send C comma T. Okay. U2, K1, K2. And how does this work? So you have to first verify that, oh, does the tag match the ciphertext? Yes. Okay. In that case, I'm going to decrypt my ciphertext to get my message. Okay. Now, is this secure? Is this having any issues? So let's talk about its security. Security. And here's the fun. If the encryption system, if the encryption scheme is CPA secure and the MAC is secure with unique tags, right? Then as it turns out, this is an authenticated encryption system. Then this is an authenticated encryption scheme. And what that means is it is actually CCA secure. Okay? And in fact, it gives something even stronger. It achieves something even stronger. Given ciphertexts corresponding to chosen plaintext M1 to MK, it is infeasible for an attacker to generate any new valid ciphertext, any new valid ciphertexts. Okay. So it's not only CCA secure, like not only even if you can get some messages decrypted and you know what their decryption is, you cannot generate any new message, a ciphertext for any message because you can't generate its tag, right? Because Mac is secure, you cannot generate its tag. So it's more than CCA secure. So technically, this is our first example of a system or of a scheme which is CCA secure. Okay. So as a result, most often authenticated encryption is the recommended generic approach. So therefore, hence, encrypt, then authenticate with independent keys. Is the recommended generic approach. Recommended generic approach. For constructing authenticated encryption. Okay. Now, however, you're still doing two processes. First, you're doing encryption, then authentication. Is there a way to do it directly? So, are there any direct constructions? Direct constructions. So, well, there are some more efficient constructions that are proposed and are in an active area of research and standardization. I will give some examples of it, but we are not going to concern ourselves with them for this course. So, other more efficient constructions have been proposed and are an active area of research and standardization. And standardization. Some of the examples are what are called the OCB scheme, or the CCM scheme, or the GCM scheme. You can just Google these and you'll find them. And there are others also. There are active competitions which are available for you to check out. But we are not going to concern ourselves with that right now. Okay. So let us end this chapter by looking at what are called secure sessions. Okay. what are secure sessions? A secure session is when two parties want to securely communicate over a session, right? Sounds redundant, but I'm going to define everything properly. So consider parties who wish to communicate securely over the course of a session. But securely means secrecy and integrity. CREC and integrity. And session means period of time. I'm not ending the definition there. Over which the parties are willing to maintain the same state. Over which the parties are willing to maintain state. Okay, so this is going to be a synchronized session where both parties are in the same state, and this allows us to do more things than just have secrecy and integrity. Things are even better. So what do we do for this? We use an authenticated encryption. Use authenticated encryption. Okay. However, there are still some possible attacks that are not um, solved by authenticated encryption. So a standard session is going to look like U1 with access to keys, U2 access to keys, K1, K2 for encryption and decryption and whatever things, right? And you send messages. Oh, encryption K of M1, encryption K of M2. So I'm just writing it shorthand. Where we might be using a direct what do you call direct construction of a authenticated encryption scheme, or we might be using encrypt then authenticate, whatever, some way that we have encrypted. Okay. M3, there are messages going back and forth. So what are the possible attacks that authenticated encryption schemes as of now do not stop? Problems that authenticated encryption scheme cannot yet stop. Well, the first of these we have seen before is the replay attack. Replay attack. There's some shady adversary sitting around in the middle of the communication channel. Encryption K of M1, U2. You have access K. encryption key of M2 is sent by the user, but then secretly encryption key of M1 is sent by the adversary, right? This is a replay attack by the adversary who is actively interfering with my scheme, with my system or communications channel, right? Reordering attack. Reordering attack. Okay. U1, okay. U2, okay. If there is a delay between messages, if they are not instantly being transmitted, the adversary might switch up the order, and that could screw over things. Encryption key of M1, encryption key of M2, encryption key of M2, encryption key of M1. Okay, both of these are trouble, right? And the third kind of attack is a reflection attack. Okay, what is that? Your user U1 with access key is K. They sent a message encryption K of M1 to U2, and another message encryption K of M2. However, the adversary just sends it back, pretending that it is a message now that user 2 has sent to M1, U1. U1 has no way of knowing right now that these attacks are, any of these attacks are happening, okay? How do secure sessions beat these? Secure sessions beat these attacks by secure sessions prevent these attacks using counters / sequence numbers, counters / sequence numbers and identifiers. So that is why things where more security is needed, for example, bank accounts and stuff, they are run using sessions, right? You don't want a command for withdraw $10,000 being sent 7 times. You might be able to afford withdrawing $10,000 once, but maybe not 7 times. Or transfer money to someone twice. You don't want that, right? So, how do you look for counters or sequence numbers and identifiers? Well, here's how you do it. Okay. U2. Okay. So now the nomenclature I'm going to use for the names is something that is standard across cryptography. There are lots of jokes and everything about these names. Okay. So the names are always Bob and Alice for the 2 people collaborating, and the adversary is always Eve. So the encrypted message is going to look something like this. Bob is sending message 1, and it's his first message. Okay? Now Bob is sending his second message. M2. Now Alice is sending a message. and this is her first message. Okay, and this instantly prevents all three types of attacks, right? So if your messages are reordered, you can now say, oh wait, these came in the wrong order. Haha. I wonder what happened. Maybe there was some delay, right? If you see M2 before 1, that means that there was some reordering. If you see a message from Bob to Bob, then Bob can say, wait a second, this message shouldn't have come before. This is a message I sent. This should go to Alice. Aha, there is some issue in the communication, right? So using this technically prevents all these three kinds of attacks that we are familiar with. There are others also that are prevented using this, but this kind of schemes basically prevents most of the attacks. So these attacks, and others can be prevented prevented using counters and identifiers. Okay. If you're just doing two people, you can also use a directionality bit rather than identifiers in place of identifiers. So one person is 0, the other person is 1. Message from 0 to 1 is labeled 0. Message from 1 to 0 is labeled 1. Something like that, right? Anyway, this is all that is in chapter 4. So this is the end of chapter 4. Next week we'll start on a new chapter. I presumably we will start on chapter 5, but I might want to think a bit and see whether we want to do more number theory first. But I think we will just start off on chapter 5. Okay? So enjoy. I will try to finish off the grading for the exam by tomorrow. Hopefully, I really hope everyone's grades should be up by tomorrow. Okay? Me and the grader are doing separate questions, so don't be scared if your grades fall now before everything is done. Your grades might fluctuate around a bit. You'll see your grades rising. You might not know how many questions are graded. It takes time for us to go through every single question. So your grades will be visible to you, but you won't be able to see the comments till we are actually done publishing. Okay? So it'll take a while. But hopefully by tomorrow evening, that is my goal, is to have everyone's grades up and comments up so that you can see what went wrong. Okay?